My name is Hamzah Shanbari. I'm the Director of Innovation at Haskell. Haskell is a design-build company based out of Jacksonville, Florida. And my work really is just about cultivating that culture of innovation and getting people excited about submitting new ideas and seeing initiatives through from conceptual all the way to kind of like full deployment within the company or even in the industry, hopefully.
We saw that you just published a book as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Paperless Builders, the why, what, and how of construction technology is kind of documents my journey throughout the last 8 to 9 years within Haskell of looking at technology, right? And how technology is shaping the construction industry. That includes architectural engineering and construction and even operations. And the idea is there's tons of technology that are disrupting the space. And if you're not staying ahead of that, you are going to be left behind. The effort comes from a place where I truly believe in anything that I do in terms of technology and innovation within the Haskell company is for the betterment of the industry, right? It's like, this isn't just to make Haskell better. This isn't just to make myself look better. This is for the betterment of the entire industry. And that's kind of what really kind of inspired me to write that book and put it out there in order to help the whole industry look at not only what technologies are out there, and so it starts with why, it's like, what's the problem statement? Why do we need technology? And then what types of technologies out there that can really help us address those problem statements? But then the last part, which is the most important, is how, right? So I have like this structured framework of how to evaluate and implement technologies in your own company to kind of keep up with the times and ultimately be more profitable, so to say.
How do you see innovation shaping the future of construction? And what are the most exciting emerging technologies or trends that will have a lasting impact?
It's changing rapidly. It's it's not slowing down. And every day I look at it, it's like there's more and more happening in the horizon. Things are fundamentally changing in the way that we communicate, in the way that we exchange information, in the way that we are designing and building these facilities that shape our lives eventually, right? The biggest impact is coming from the farthest horizon right now, which is kind of like you're talking robotics, you're talking AI. AI, everybody's hearing about it with the GPT stuff and generative AI, all of that elements, but there's so much more that we can do in terms of efficiency, in terms of finding information, in terms of communicating information more clearly. And it all starts with the design. It starts with the conceptual design with the owner that has an idea for building a facility, right? And that trickles all the way through to pre-construction, through construction, through handover and operations. And there's so much more that we can be doing.
Definitely. And we'll touch on more of those technologies a little bit. But what are some of the biggest challenges in construction innovation, and how can companies overcome them to stay ahead?
Yeah, that's the funny part is like I start the book with chapter 1, change is hard. Literally chapter 1, because if you can't overcome that hurdle, everything else in the book is going to be irrelevant to you, right? Change is hard because it's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of what else is on the other side of this technology implementation, right? I don't know. And that's what I'm saying is like, I'm preaching that it's okay to not know. It's okay to experiment. It's okay to fail and learn from that and do it again. And without overcoming that hurdle at the beginning, before you even embark on anything that has to do with innovation and technology, if you are not willing to fail, you are not willing to innovate. And that's the mindset that I start the book with, is like, be open to experimenting, to trying things, to failing, to learning from that. That's the only way you can innovate. And it goes back to even like I gave a TEDx talk about that, which is like failure is not an option, it's a necessity. If you want to keep with the times, if you want to keep with innovation and the rapid pace, you have to continue failing and failing fast, learning from that and continuing to grow from it.
Can you share examples of how digitization and emerging technologies like AI, automation, IoT, etc., are improving safety, efficiency, or quality of construction projects?
Yeah, 100%. So again, it all goes back to communication. Believe it or not, there's a lot of information that gets passed back and forth in a construction projects, from designers to engineers to municipalities to like powers being, of overseeing that, GCs, trade partners. There's so many different stakeholders, and they seldom speak the same language, and not in a sense that, English versus Spanish, but it's like, what are their priorities? What are they trying to focus on? What aspects are they looking to solve for? They all speak different things, right? And they all have different priorities, different things to solve for, and different things to focus on. And what the technology is enabling is that instant translation, so to say, between all of those different priorities, in a sense that, you have a central system of record that has the latest and greatest information about any project. And everybody's tapping into that and not only getting the information that they need much, much faster and more efficiently, but knowing that that information is accurate, is the latest information, because things are always changing. And it also enables them to write to it, right? To contribute back about what's happening, because it's always a live kind of being, so to say, that we are working on. The most exciting thing that I'm seeing in terms of like AI advancements, it goes back to the design phase, all the way to conceptual design phase with generative designs, right? So things that are really helping us generate these designs faster and with more optionality. Because before, we didn't have the time and effort to sit down and generate 3 different options for the owners to look at, right? That's still a lot of work, and a lot of people that are putting, tears, sweats into that, and making sure that they're producing an option that is viable for the client to look at. Right now with generative design, you can generate 100 options with a click of a button, and then drill down into the ones that you think are more feasible, right? Or the owners likes more. Not only that, what excites me the best or the most about AI and design is the ability to spit out or send out designs that are complete, designs that are accurate, designs that contain all the information, and hopefully the elimination of requests for information from the GC side, because they don't need to ask questions because everything is in the design documents. Wouldn't that be nice?
What have you learned from running events like the Big Pitch, and how do they compare to other forms of structured innovation, such as R&D initiatives, partnerships, whatnot?
What I love about Big Pitch is it really gets a lot of people in the same room with one common goal. Something different is going to come out of this. That's what excites me the most. I talk about like a lot of BU leaders, a lot of vice presidents, a lot of even presidents level that are all getting into the same room. And they're not necessarily like participants or judging, but they are audience for these people that are brave enough to put their idea forward and come up to the stage and present in front of an executive panel of judges and saying, here's why I need this many dollars so I can improve this aspect. But that's really the most exciting part for me, is like you get a lot of different people from different backgrounds, from different business units, from different markets into the same room with one objective, which is something new, something innovative is going to come out of this event.
What unique opportunities do hackathons provide for solving complex construction challenges, and how can companies make the most of them?
It all goes back to talking about the culture and employees and involving them in finding solutions to problem statements that are either predefined in the title of the challenge or the hackathon, or even let them come up with problem statements, right? Let's sit down and come up with or identify a problem statement and then come up with different solutions. 100% of the time, you will be surprised by the outcome of that. Because there is no way that you can go into such an event with a preconceived notion saying this is what the solution is going to be. You know what I mean? It's always like a pre and a post event kind of mentality. It's like a pre-event is like, oh, there's this specific problem statement. How are we going to solve it? And then you come out as like, I did not even see that coming. And you will not be able to do that if you're not including employees from different backgrounds, from different perspectives, from different, fields, so to say, even sometimes.
So we recently ran a survey and learned that 82% of companies run at least one hackathon a year. but only 29% of projects move beyond the event that are implemented. What
That's
advice would you give leaders struggling to get a hackathon or pitch ideas into the real world?
That is a sad statistic. So here's the thing. It's like I think a lot of companies try to give ownership to that outcome of a hackathon or event to the people that submitted it or the people that came up with the idea. And I think that's where they mostly die because those people have full-time jobs. They're not going to quit their job and focus on this. And that's, I think, how we did it better is that we, as the innovation team, even though we're still small and nimble, we are the ones running those outcomes. So if the judges say, that's the winner, that's the idea that wins, here's the budget for it. We're not just handing it over to the people that submitted it and say, good luck, let us know how that goes, right? It's like we are taking full responsibility and running the entire project. Yes, they are 100% involved in it as their time permits, right? They're attending the meetings, they're giving their feedback, they're becoming the first user of it and kind of shaping it throughout the project. But we ultimately are the ones that are responsible for seeing it through and seeing how it kind of gets to fruition and deployment.
Let's talk a little bit about your group really quick. How big is it? What is your function within the org? And what's the structure?
Yeah, so DisruptTech is an internal business unit, but also kind of like a separate LLC so that we can have full autonomy of working externally with other stakeholders. And our mission is to be the bridge between the internal Haskell ecosystem and the external technology / development / all the different innovation aspects that's happening outside of Haskell. So we're bridging those two worlds together, and we're seeing things come to fruition from that. We always talk about our 3 I's, kind of like our mission statements, like invest and invent and innovate. So we are having this, running this structured innovation program of getting the ideas from all of our employees in a structured way within BrightIdea, of course, and managing them. And then they go to one of those 2 routes, right? It's either invest, which is finding a technology startup outside that are solving that problem statement. So we either invest capital in them or invest time and resources in piloting that technology and bringing it internally and kind of hopefully scaling it. Or it goes the other route, which is invent. If it doesn't exist outside in the ecosystem, we switch hats to inventor mode. And we work with, again, external development teams that help us bring it to life with, of course, owners of IP and all that stuff with it. We are not like a team of 200 people that are doing R&D day in and day out. We're a team of 4. We're hopefully growing up to 6 here by the end of this year. And all of it is this managing of relationships between that, and again, internal ecosystem and the external ecosystem of making ideas a reality.
Great. Yeah. So I think anyone watching this that don't have the luxury of having a team set up like yours, they'll learn a lot from this conversation. And like, oh yeah, if we're going to take innovation serious, if they're investing in innovation programs, but then they're like things fall flat, they could, oh yeah, let's set up a team, or at least start with one person. Maybe it could grow, but someone that could kind of carry the top idea through. So that makes sense. And that's the numbers. Like I said, 82% run at least one hackathon, but only 29% move beyond the event. So clearly there's a big divide there, and there's a big gap that people kind of need to think about.
It all goes back
after.
to a dedicated team and a dedicated budget, and set some parameters saying like here's or let them set some goals. Some of them may be moonshots, but there has to be some metrics to be measured against. But dedicated resources, dedicated budget, and you should be up.
What advice would you give construction leaders who want to run successful hackathons or pitch events or innovation challenges but struggle with engagement?
It all goes back to messaging and how are you positioning it internally. So the first big pitch when we released it, we got it wasn't like the strongest immediate kind of response to it in terms of like number of ideas, but most importantly, quality of ideas. Because a lot of them were like things that are very low hanging fruit that we can just, grab a solution off the shelf and say, yes, here you go. But the more, so it's about messaging and it's about consistency in that messaging. So the more you do it, the more people get it, right? And that's what we saw. So the second big pitch event that we launched, we got less number of ideas, but they were all higher quality. They were all like bigger opportunities for improvement. And from there out, from 2021 until today, it was all like higher number of ideas with a higher quality, higher caliber. Even some of them, like, I kid you not, we're talking about a moonshot. Like, one of the ideas is like, there's a lot of asteroids that pass by Earth that have a lot of minerals in them that we can be harvesting. Let's shoot a rocket, grab those, and bring them back. So there's a lot of interest in like, oh, the sky is the limit. Let me put my innovator hat on here and kind of bring in the A game. Of course, we're not going to focus on those ideas, but it's great to see them.
What do you think the construction industry will look like in 10 years in terms of innovation? Which technologies or processes will become standard, and which ones will still be a work in progress?
It'll be fundamentally different. 10 years from now, there's not going to be any such thing as requests for information because designs are going to be complete. This is Hamzah talking, not Haskell. So let me just kind of cover this. There's going to be a whole kind of like mandatory step between design and construction, or even can start as early as conceptual design, which is that simulation aspect. With all this advancing in technology and AI and all this other things, we can simulate. We can say, here's the design. One, is it constructible in the time frame and the budget that you're setting for this? Is it safe for the employees or workers to be on that job site? So is it designed in a way that can be constructed safely, not just constructible? And then like what other impacts it's going to have on the local community? So there's so many different things that you can be simulating before you even step foot on the job site and actually start deploying people. So I think that's going to be a fundamental change in how we think about design, how we incorporate so many different stakeholders so early on before we have boots on the ground, so to say. There are going to be tons of integrations of robotics too. And that's a whole other topic that people kind of get wary of, because like robots are coming for our jobs. No, they're coming to augment your job, to make it easier, safer, more efficient, and help us with the great labor shortage that we are dealing with as an industry day in and day out, because it's not attractive enough as an industry for the young generation to get into. But again, hopefully with all this technology and robotics and AI and different developments, that we can start attracting more and more of the new generation in different fields that we don't incorporate in the construction industry right now.
Those are all the questions we have. Is there anything that you think we are missing as far as if you think about the whole conversation, anything you want to double tap on or get into a little bit?
To close the loop and all of that stuff is reporting. And a lot of people kind of overlook that final step because we're doing a lot of things and we have like so many projects in flight, but they forget the part that you have to close the loop. You have to report back on all of the things that you did on a current basis, right? And kind of continuing to close the loop and showcase the efforts and the fruits and the learnings and all that stuff that come from such an innovation program. Not just, we're doing things, here it is, but it's like that reporting aspect I think is very important.
Hamzah, thank you so much for your time.